All right, Tim, as well as Sean, who I will intro in a second. We are about to be covering the Zack Snyder Justice League cut, a cultural revolution and a cultural movement as it was. If you could pick one movie to get the true, unfiltered director's cut version of the movie, with the exception of Suicide Squad, because that's actually starting to happen, what would that movie be? Sean, since you're the guest, you can go first.
It's hard to say. I feel like that might have happened kind of with that movie. Because now, basically, I don't trust anything that Warner Brothers has done in the last, 8 years, 10 years. They're
Right.
just, it's really bizarre to watch this new one. And I mean, my absolute all-time would be the Suicide Squad. Because if that, too, is as improved as this was, that's like actually kind of a big deal. I feel like people don't get that it will actually change a lot of shit in Hollywood.
So Sean says release the air cut. I like it. Tim.
Yeah, I'm going kind of a different way. There's certain movies that I could have stayed in that world forever and I would just be cool if they were longer. And for me, that's got to be Goodfellas. Because I could have done 2 more hours just dealing with Robert De Niro shit, cutting cocaine.
So you want 45 minutes of him driving around with the helicopter above him?
I would do it.
Manically driving around.
I would do it. I would do the Irishman version of that movie where it's clearly an hour too long, but I'm just kind of okay with it.
I was gonna say we got the we got the extended version of Goodfellas. It's called The Irishman.
I have not seen that. I heard it's not Goodfellas.
No.
God, no. It's not Goodfellas. It was a fun viewing experience for, as Tim knows, multiple reasons. It was different, shall we say? But that's what was not happening on the screen. But on the screen, it was cool to see. It was a cool experience, and it was really interesting. It was interesting to see how they used the de-aging technology and how good, not great it was. You got to see the 92-year-old Robert De Niro attempt to curb stomp someone, and they didn't really work all that well. So yeah.
So here's the thing. This is the first one that we're posting to YouTube, and I already don't like this format because I feel weird making faces at Tony when he's saying stupid shit, referencing things that were going on in the movie theater. We might have to reconsider this, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Or I'm constricting your facial and physical expression during this podcast, because that's usually a pretty good outlet for you.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it so far.
Well, thanks for coming in, everybody. This is the Tim and Tony pod reviewing Zack Snyder's Justice League. JDF, please play us in. And if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to stay with us. All right. So Tim, how did we get to where we are currently?
Yeah, so we're gonna celebrate the 4-hour movie by doing a 4-hour podcast. We're just gonna go on and on. We're gonna do a lot of slow motion, like they did in this movie. We're gonna have a lot of music,
a lot of soundscapes.
Yes,
a lot of soundscapes.
A lot of camera blurs in and out. A lot of camera flare. A lot of good stuff.
A lot of actual character development.
Yeah, okay. So I do want to get serious on this. This movie people are going to really remember this movie for being the moment where I think everybody realized the influence that social media has on some of these powerful entities.
100%.
Yeah.
And this year in reality has kind of been defined by that, with the Wall Street Bets guys, and now with the Zack Snyder cut.
Dude, this is the equivalent. I literally just described it as what you're saying. It is the Reddit thing equivalent.
Yeah.
like, did you see that they're now review bombing the rest of the Warner Brothers slate?
Yes. It's
Starting
great.
with Kong
It's
and,
fantastic.
Godzilla.
So my next question was going to be to Sean, because you're who we bring in when we want to have someone that actually knows what's going on into these conversations. So I asked him kind of how we got to this literal podcast. How did the world get from seeing the Justice League that was originally released to now what it is now, unapologetically Zack Snyder's Justice League?
But before I answer, did Tim watch it yet?
Yeah, of course I
did. That's the rule. That's the rule.
That's the thing. Is
I thought he vehemently said he wasn't going to do it.
No.
He did. Here's
the
thing. No, Tim, shut up. The thing is that was before we had made up these rules and made up the whole process by which we pick the movies. We switch off picking movies. This one was my pick, and I knew that he would never watch the movie if it weren't for me picking this movie. So I abused my power.
But I do want to state that I have riffed on things on this podcast that I have neither seen nor read.
Yeah, like this
hours about them.
Like the second episode of Star Wars. You dumb.
Yes. That is true.
How the Star Wars.
No,
Then he so eloquently called Clone Wars.
I don't like that one because that was an episode that we shared a lot and got picked up by a lot of people. And so there's been a lot of fuck you. How did you say this wrong? How did you not know this? I'm like, okay. Before that, our podcast had 10 listeners, and all of a sudden it blows up on this episode where I sound like a complete jackass. It really hurt my feelings.
Which is very appropriate. I mean, you were the first person, or you got canceled before that was a thing in the political lexicon. You got canceled by the Star Wars mob, and it made me very happy.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Well, you can.
You're a Last Jedi supporter, right?
Yeah. See, that's the other thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's the other thing.
I'm gonna give him your address.
No, I do not want these people anywhere near me. Yeah, no, that's the other tough thing for these people is they're like, oh God, I bet you like episode 8. And I'm like, fuck. Yes, I like episode 8. I don't like 9.
Yep. There it comes.
I know.
No, I mean, to answer the question though, I don't even know how we got here because it was I remember when the movie came out, I could tell that there was I had actually never seen something like Suicide Squad, right? Suicide Squad was not even the same movie as the trailer. And it was very obvious from the standpoint of someone that just has a basic understanding of how these movies are made, right? That it was the scrap pile put together from what was a different movie. Batman versus Superman, I saw it, didn't think for sure that was the case, then saw the extended cut and was like, what are they doing at Warner Brothers? It makes no sense. Justice League, it seemed like they were gonna, fix that. And really, it was the biggest ask, I think, ever, right? Hey, take these absolutely mega-sized characters, introduce them and get them into action and through something big in 2 hours. What?
They tried
don't know Cyborg, don't know Aquaman, don't know fucking Flash. I mean, beyond the context of the basic, I know those characters exist. Versus where Marvel had a solo full 2 hour movie for every single one of them.
They tried to
seeing this, I would say he did exactly what they asked. Right. This 4 hour version, it completely covered all those bases, I felt like. And it was super, super good. But yeah, I mean, it was obviously shit. It wasn't very good. I was very happy to find that my favorite scene in the movie was from Zack Snyder and not Joss Whedon.
Right.
Flash with Superman. That's his eye turning and seeing Flash. Incredible. Love that. But yeah, everyone starts crying on the internet. Snyder cut. And I thought, no chance. Forever, I thought no chance. And then he released pictures of the actual film crate or the metal film containers to show that it had been shot. And I was like, well, so it exists in some form, despite them saying it doesn't. And the next thing you know, they're dumping, I think it ended up being $70 million into doing this totally, which honestly, have you guys seen the new Suicide Squad trailer?
Yes.
Okay. So was it not told 4 years ago that they changed this because they were like, Steppenwolf was too scary, Parademons were too scary, it was too violent, and now King Shark is ripping a human in half to some super light melody, and they're like, well, that's different. I'm like, dude,
I mean,
you guys
Sean,
look like tone deaf. Like,
we now live in a world where Disney's going to be releasing a third Deadpool. So
yeah,
who
and
knows?
rated R one, right?
Yeah. So who knows? Yeah. And they're allowing Ryan Reynolds to have ish the same amount of creative control that he had. So like we're living in uncharted waters. We live in a world where the Twitter mob bullied one of the premier and most, historically bankable movie studios into releasing an extra.
I could be wrong, but I believe that
Restore
the Snyderverse is now the highest trending hashtag in the history of Twitter.
Yes.
That's hard to ignore, dude. I mean,
it's amazing. It makes me so happy.
Because you weren't really like fully into this stuff, right? You didn't see Man of Steel until not even that long ago.
Right. So yeah, thanks to some password sharing from you, Sean, that I was able to.
We gotta stop talking about this shit on the podcast. We're gonna get caught. They're cracking down on this.
No, that's just Netflix. I would like to announce something for everybody. I officially have my own Netflix account, which I will say, I don't care. The one unfortunate thing, and here's how I know it's true. The algorithm knows nothing. It sucks. I just threw like 5 years just completely out the window. Now it's suggesting I watch like teen rom-coms, and I don't appreciate it.
Yep. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, serious question to you guys. Do you see a world where Ayer cut doesn't come?
I am mildly skeptical for this reason. I think that one of the things that led to this movie ultimately being made is the pandemic and a lack of content coming out in general. I mean, this movie, for so many reasons, is the perfect pandemic movie. It's based even
way too long.
Yeah, no, it takes up a lot of time. But even if you hadn't seen the first one, even if you've never seen any of the new DC movies, you can watch this movie and understand.
I felt that way too, yeah. And I feel like that is a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
For what they almost, it seems like now, fully purposely sabotaged. They wanted to end whatever road that they were about to take, and because even like Henry Cavill, I mean, Jared Leto's Joker, so many things. I want so much more. I want to see Ben Affleck's Batman much more.
They pissed him off way too much. See, to answer your question though, Sean, I think it depends on how well this rebooted The Suicide Squad does. If it does okay, I think then they go back to the well. If it does really well, I think they run with it. I think if it does really bad, then it's a complete toss-up.
It's James Gunn, like it's Guardians of the Galaxy guy. Like, if I actually have a fair amount of faith and confidence that he's going to do a good job. My thing is I don't think.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be great.
I just don't think they give a shit. I mean, they've now accepted, like, hearing them talk about their universe now and where Joaquin Phoenix's Joker takes place in versus where Jared Leto's Joker is versus where Robert Pattinson's Batman is. It's like, they don't even give a shit. They're just like, no, we're going to throw out content in this universe at will, and you guys are going to watch it anyways. We don't give a shit. It's like the anti.
That was like something that Kevin Smith said, though. He was like, do you guys have like all the money on the fucking planet? Let Zack Snyder make a movie every 2 years for HBO Max.
You're fucking Warner Brothers.
2 million people will watch it. I don't get it. Like,
and they'll go to your service, and then hell, you can even do the premium release where it's releasing on your service for $40. Yeah. Whereas, people that live in California or whatnot, like, okay, let's say you get a group of 5 of you to come and watch it. That's exponentially cheaper than what it would be to go to the theater.
So much.
So like less so in places like Arizona and whatnot, but like in a lot of, film heavy areas, you could charge $50 for it as long as you get the right number of people. Hell, if you get a ticket popcorn and a beer, that's 40 something bucks anyways, just for one person. So like, it's
seriously.
the economics just makes so much sense given, and it's so funny, Tim, because we had this conversation, I mean, probably 30 pod episodes ago about how, the movie industry is going to change, and how we talked about how because TVs and audio systems are getting so much better, that it's going to become where we see Avengers in the theater, where we see, those types of movies in the theater. But other than that, like if we're seeing some Zack Snyder offshoot of whatever, series of Batman movies he wants to make or whatever, like, yeah, we'll just watch it at our house. And I think that with what Warner Brothers is doing with just saying, hey, okay, so we tried to microwave the Avengers. It didn't work. It exploded all in the microwave, and the microwave actually melted. So that was cool to watch. But now we're just going to make we're just going to throw literally everything at you. It's just going to be a buffet. Like you get whatever, you can take whatever you want. If you want to watch, a 3.5 hour Jared Leto remake of Taxi Driver, great, we're going to do it. If you want to watch, the Suicide Squad that's like fucking rated X, go ahead. Like if you just, we're just going to start making a bunch of different stuff. What works is what works. What doesn't is what doesn't. We're ultimately just building content because we have that kind of money.
Yeah,
it clearly
I agree. No, go ahead, Tim.
We're so polite. I was going to say they clearly
all right, pick a number between 1 and 10.
Yeah,
guys.
No. They had absolutely no idea, you can tell from the beginning, what they wanted to do with this. Like
100%.
At one point, they were all in a room together, and they decided to put out the movie that we ultimately saw. And they made all these horrible movies beforehand. I actually like Aquaman and Wonder Woman and the first Superman, but the other ones were really bad. And now they've kind of finally belatedly realized that they should stop trying to copy Marvel's secret sauce and instead create their own niche market of.
You really can't even do that though with that, like
their characters are so different.
They're so different. They're so much more epic and dramatic in the DC world that it's. I mean, like, dude, the Flash in this movie was so dope, and I mean, he goes from saving what 4 people in the theatrical one to all of existence in this one.
It's a pretty big difference.
Pretty big difference. Jump, dude. I mean that and beyond stuff like that, what I kept saying when I was watching it was there was just small things that made no sense. Batman having the energy absorbing gauntlets, why cut that? What is the point of cutting that?
That and all of
small interactions with like Flash and his dad, why change those and cut that? Why add so many weird, stupid jokes and minimize such great action? Like, so many small things. When Bruce and Alfred would talk several times, like none of the like Batman being like, "Oh, I'm a beat up loser and I'm ready to quit," and all that bullshit. It was just, dude. I felt it was so. Why add that whole like? In a theatrical version, he was developing the gauntlets to play the sound that parademons didn't like or something. All the motivation of Steppenwolf, like I know it's already memes and stuff, right? But when he's like, "You'll come here," and he's so like, you feel for the character actually, and he makes sense. And he was way more threatening. He was way cooler to watch them fight. That final fight makes. I understand that we can't be releasing 4-hour movies, but there's no Helen Keller could have found a better way to piece together a 2-hour movie than what they did in 2017. It makes no sense.
I'll consent to that.
It's so weird.
The only thing with the Flash that I have to point out, someone has to teach Ezra Miller how to fucking run, because like the whole time
it wasn't as bad. I feel like in this one, but it's not good.
Hold on. No. The dude literally runs at the speed of sound and light, and you're gonna tell me he's gonna run like a normal human being?
No,
he's gonna run different.
I was trying to say to someone
Thorn,
But he's not just fast. It's so much more cosmic, right? He's running in the Speed Force.
Right. It's
and
going to
so
look
it's
different.
a little bit different, but
My guy's
it,
arms
honestly,
is like
they made it
out
look
here.
worse than the other one. Dude,
Oh,
that was something that I was like one that makes no sense. When they rescue all the people from the tunnels and they get outside for the first time and like part of the building crumbles and Flash is like, oh no, and you see just the blue lightning and him like leaping super fast all over the people, and then another piece falls and Cyborg blasts it, and I'm like, I fundamentally do not understand who saw that and went, ugh, out of here. Like, what are you cutting? The Flash did nothing in the theatrical version except sort of comic relief.
The worst version of Tom Holland Spider-Man, basically.
100%. And but at the same time, this is an absolute lesson in not being able to please everybody. The movie is 1,000 times better than the theatrical release. It's just a fact. But I read an article about some guy that was saying that the worst part of the movie was Flash, and the worst scene in the movie was his ultra creepy stalker interaction with Iris West, where he just gawks at her and puts a hot dog in his pocket all creepily. And I'm like, bruh, do you understand physics? If he just runs up and grabs her, she just explodes. Like, she's just a dead lady now. If she's moving forward at this speed and the Flash runs up and slaps her in the face, he gracefully lays the woman down and then takes off. And it's very, I thought, sweet and comic. Like, it was so comical. And he was so good in the whole movie. It makes no sense. All the stuff with Ray Fisher's Cyborg and his other was so much better. It makes it was just a very bizarre movie, man. Like, so Sean, I really don't get it.
So Sean, this is a question for you because neither Tim or I would be able to answer this. I recently watched X-Men Days of Futures Past. Is that who would win in a fight, Quicksilver or the Flash?
Flash.
Really?
Quicksilver's just fast. The Flash is manipulating the Speed Force.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he can do way more stuff.
Okay, thank you. I needed to know the answer to that because I love both of the like main slowdown scenes. So thank you. That was just for me, everybody. Thank you.
I think the other thing that comes out of this is something that I've been saying for a while, is that people who actually love your stuff will watch an unlimited amount of it, an unlimited amount of power. Like when Disney was doing the announcement where they were like, we're going to do 12 Marvel shows, we're going to do 8 Star Wars shows, we're going to do all these movies, and people were like, this might be too much. I was like, no, it's not. It's not, because people who want it will watch your TV show about Star Wars every single fucking week for an hour. They just will.
And if you do it at a week by week release, it's way easier to take one bite of the apple every week. It's so much easier as opposed to, hey, the entire season's out, so like I need you to mentally wrap your head around being able to watch 8 hours of content really fast because you want to be part of the conversation, and then you end up just not seeing it, and it ends up just going by the wayside.
Yeah, totally. I mean, not even that. It's like they're doing such a good job on Disney Plus specifically. WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier is getting a little bit better, but people weren't in love with WandaVision at the start.
People hated
exactly.
It did really well critically for the people that grew up watching the Dick Van Dyke Show, but for the actual audience, they hated the first 2 episodes. And quite frankly,
what are we learning, right? I mean, this goes to what you were saying. I think what it is we're entering a point in time where, Transformers, Mission Impossible, spectacle movies, I'll go to like IMAX or something.
Right.
I don't think I need to go to the movie theater to watch Mulholland Drive anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
I don't need to go see The Irishman. I don't need to spend $40 to watch that. I need a popcorn for 3 hours or whatever, 3.5 hours. I can watch that at home, 100%. Right. And those movies also don't require, I feel like, the net income of the theaters. There's not a ton of special effects going into Goodfellas,
right?
Regular Goodfellas. There's a lot of money that goes into fucking. I mean, I don't know. I don't think anybody got paid for Zack Snyder's Justice League.
I honestly
stuff did, but I don't think Stars did.
I honestly don't know the economics behind that.
But I mean, it's all time streaming records and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh,
the guy who played Cyborg is suing them previously for cutting out his stuff. So I'll be curious to watch that.
That's a real big lawsuit, kind of. He's accusing them of real rough work environment shit.
That's different. Yeah. So I mean, that'll be interesting to see what happens. Going to the movie though, I'm so glad I have Sean here because I have so many questions that like made no sense to me in this movie. At the very beginning, when Batman is like riding a fucking horse to go pick up Aquaman, here's my thing. Like, I know that at a certain point, gas freezes, and so you can't like fly to wherever they were. Probably.
It's so funny that so many people have this. Dude, literally watching it, I turned to the girl that I was with. And I said, and because she was visibly like, "Isn't this Batman? Doesn't he have fucking unlimited tech?" And I was like, "I bet you $1 million he's making a point. I bet you they mentioned at some point that what he just did was impossible, and then as soon as he gets in there, they're like, he says he came over the past. No one could survive that." And I was like, "There it is." Like
he's trying to make a point, and he's trying to.
He wanted to be taken seriously,
and he's not trying to freak them out. Like they're a village town in the middle of some Arctic mountain, and if he just pulls up with the freaking Batmobile or the with the Batwing, like if he pulls up with that, it's like, oh, there's Satan. He's here. Yeah. Okay, we're dead. So let's start fighting. Like that's not. Are you one of the people that was making that was talking shit about I think it was Star Wars Episode 8, talking shit about all the bombs in space? Well, that wouldn't work. Like, it's a fucking movie. No. Like, yeah, no. Yeah, you're right.
I hate that actually. That's too far.
Hold on, Sean.
All you have to do is say the magnetic bombs, and I go, "Nah, they got me." But they couldn't even do that. They're like, bombs fall, and I'm like, they certainly don't.
Holo maneuver.
You know what else they do? Blow up.
Daenerys forgot about the Iron Fleet. Like, you're one of those people. Like, just
garbage.
Picking at the logistics of stuff.
There is somebody making $1 million a year whose whole job is to watch it and go, "Oh, we can't do that because we did this earlier." Continuity expert, and they're just like, whatever's fine. Like, and they're just shit in the bed. Come on, dude. My stoned ass shouldn't be watching a movie and going, "That's wrong. How'd they miss that? How'd they get that wrong?" It's so stupid. No, hold on. Hit me more, Tim. I want to hear more of these. What else you got?
So I'm gonna give my overall thoughts on the movie at the end because I don't want it to like overshadow what I'm gonna say about it. I'm overall glad that this movie exists.
Oh, that's way more positive than you know what?
No, it's not that because it's not for me. It's not for me. Was what I realized was watching it. Is it was like, look, like people really care about this shit, and me sitting here being like, this movie shouldn't exist in the first place because they should have done solo movies for all these people so I could understand what the fuck who everybody is. It's like, well, okay, but there are people who love this stuff so much that they need 30 minutes of intro to the Flash and they're in, and they're just like ready to go. Yeah, like, but for me, it's like, okay, I need a little bit more still, like, and you're never going to be able to do that unless you do like a 12-hour movie with solo movies for every single one of the people. The thing that I did think was really smart, they did some smart stuff with Cyborg, because the movie, I like audibly said out loud in the theater when they first introduced it, like, what the fuck is this? Like what's going on here? Like, I just didn't get it. Like, I didn't know who the character was at all. I had no background with him like I did with the other ones. And I was just like confused that they just brought this guy into my life and barely explained it. And I'm going to get to a question on him in a second. But the other thing with the choosing to go with a Batman that's like...
Hold on. They brought this guy in your life. Did like your daughter bring her boyfriend home or something?
No, it's in my life for the next 2 hours. It's like in my life for the next 2 hours. That's all I'm saying. The choice to make Batman...
The same guy that was able to go, "Oh, this girl Rose is just a part of Star Wars now." Okay. can't be like, it's like Cyborg.
I didn't get it. I didn't get it at the time, but I get it more now, if that makes sense. Like I kind of get it. Although the slow motion scenes, the slow motion football scenes, I wanted to throw my shoe through the TV repeatedly.
What?
It's like it was too much by like 20 minutes. But
it looked like an Amazon Web Services commercial. It was great. I loved it.
Can I? Okay, you two.
I mean,
you two are bigger fans of this
great.
stuff. You two are bigger fans of this stuff than I am, and I understand that. My question is, what do you guys think of the choice to make Batman old in this version? Just go straight to old Bruce Wayne? Because my problem with it is this: every single character that he interacts with in this movie, especially Commissioner Gordon, have this history with this version of Batman that I don't have as a viewer, that I haven't experienced with them. And so they're like talking about all this shit he's been through and seen. And it's like, well, okay, great. Like, I haven't seen any of that, but I also don't like religiously watch and read this stuff.
Yeah, Sean, go ahead and take that one.
Yeah, I'm 100% into it because also, I mean, for years I've been saying there is no reason that there's not multiple Batmans at a time. Why HBO Max cannot have a Batman show at the same time that Robert Pattinson is Batman, at the same time that there is, something else going on. Doesn't make any sense to me, especially because what Tim said is pretty much right. They have no fucking idea what they're doing. They're just grasping at straws at this point. Like, dude, 3 minutes of talking with Volko in this movie and you fully understand Aquaman going into Aquaman and stuff, right? Like it was so stupid to cut that. It made no sense to me. They did a pretty good job for the short period of time that they had to introduce these characters, abilities, attitudes, things like at some point Flash is like, oh, I thought you didn't care. And Aquaman's like, I never said that. And it's like, oh, well, what do you know? Character development. Or just not even character development, but character like us being revealed to seeing more of the character. And this Batman is a dope ass Batman. I mean, the warehouse fight scene from Batman versus Superman is the best Batman fight scene ever. I really, really liked. I understand that it could have been done without it, but the Joker Batman scene in the nightmare scene in the end of this Justice League, I was like, damn, dude. I don't see how you don't want to see more of those two.
Oh,
I would kill to see a movie. I mean, what the movie was really supposed to be apparently was like, have any of you guys seen the Game with Michael Douglas way back and Sean Penn?
You're
like
talking about the movie
psychological thriller.
Yeah, you're talking about the. Go ahead.
No, he like keeps putting his brother through all these like intense mind games where he thinks his fucking life is being destroyed and stuff. As just like a weird game, like Illuminati level game. And apparently that's what at the end of the Justice League, Lex Luthor tells Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke, Bruce Wayne is Batman. And apparently that was what the solo Batman movie was going to be, was Deathstroke like killing people that he loves, destroying his finances, bankrupting Wayne Corp, like destroying Batman's life as Bruce Wayne, and then coming to destroy him, his life as Batman. And it was supposed to be this just like crazy psychological game. And I was like, on what planet are we not doing that? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, because they pissed off Ben Affleck. Because they were going to have Ben Affleck write, direct, and star in it, and then they pissed him off. And now, I hope he changes his mind. Doesn't seem like he's going to change his mind, but maybe he has a change.
Snyder's out too.
Just if they throw enough money and if they throw enough creative control at them, I'm sure there's everyone has a price, and I'm hoping. Yeah. Again, we're living in a world where Disney is making a rated R Deadpool 3. Mm-hmm. Who knows?
Allegedly.
Who knows?
It's true.
But
I mean, we're so far past who knows. This movie's here.
Yeah.
They spent money on it.
Yeah, this is the ultimate who knows. And it happened.
And I asked a million times. I mean, anyone that would listen, and that even no one cares as much as I do. But if I could find someone that cared a little bit, I would just be like, what happens if it's way better? I know what happens if it's way worse. I know what happens if it's only a little bit better. What happens if it's way, way better? And it is way better. And so that's why I asked, like, do you see a world where we don't get the Ayer cut, where this mob is just stronger now? They've just been proven right by a mile.
Well,
I don't know how you slow it down.
And quite frankly, just given this conversation, I now, and I'm kind of playing off of Vision at the end of WandaVision with more. Once you learn new information, you can change your mind, all that stuff, and what they were talking about at the end. But like, given what we just talked about, I don't even think it actually matters how well the Suicide Squad does. They'll make it if they're going to make it. And if Restore the Snyderverse keeps just as a monolith on Twitter, if it just stays, if it has staying power, which the release of Snyder Cut did. So, that's
because also what is the risk?
There isn't one.
It's the same scenario where it's already been filmed.
It's already been filmed.
You're looking at $50 to $60 million of finishing it, and then you've got a whole movie. You know what I mean? A whole different movie that you can release that will bring in all the people that wanted it and all the people that just got aware of this whole thing going on with Warner Brothers and saw the Justice League. They'll watch that too. Anyone that just watched the new Suicide Squad because it's like August, you know what I mean? We'll watch the Ayer cut of that as well. And to me, it seems like an absolute win, unless they're nervous that they can't do this 2 times. They cannot show that they actively sabotage 2 good movies and expect to retain any fucking.
But
who's going to respect them?
Who cares? You really think they care if they're respected? They released the original Justice League. They don't care if they're respected.
That's true.
Like they already kowtowed, kowtowed. There we go. To kowtowed. Wow. They already enabled the Twitter mob to bully them into releasing this one movie. Why not another one? Because it's already becoming a movement. It's already becoming a moment, and I hope it becomes something, because they've released they filmed 2.5 hours of Joker scenes for that movie.
Yeah.
And then we got
6 minutes or something. Yeah.
And half of that was Jared Leto as a normal human being in Harley Quinn's brain. Like,
so
it was not good.
I think it's more likely that an Ayer cut gets out as long as it actually has been filmed, because there are moments in this movie where you can tell that the special effects are lacking. Like, they're not all the way done, especially that end scene with Steppenwolf getting thrown through the portal. The thing with doing the Snyderverse, that it's a little bit different than just throwing money at the wall, because this isn't just one rich guy you got to convince. Because you've got Leto, who wants nothing to do with you anymore. Ben Affleck, who wants nothing to do with you anymore. Cavill, who's kind of out in the middle of who knows where. Cyborg, who is suing you. Ezra Miller, who has said he doesn't really want to come back and do it. So you're not just trying to get Snyder back. Like, you're trying to get all these very rich, busy actors.
At least half of them have already said they would come back if he did, though.
Right. That's
and
the
2
thing.
of them, 3 of them did. I mean, I'm pretty sure Ezra, Leto, and Ben Affleck were the ones that were involved in the reshoots at his house, in his backyard, is where he shot the nightmare scene. That's crazy.
Yeah. And ultimately, they all want to make good shit, and they want to make a lot of money doing it. If they're enabled to do both of those things, there's not another studio that's making any DC movies. And I don't know if you know this, but the MCU is pretty filled up at the moment. So, like, if you want to do these types of movies, there's really only one place to go. And you already have some relationship with the creators of it. Obviously, the execs, that's a whole other thing. But, like, if they just throw money at it and they say, like, hey, Ben Affleck, like, we wanted you to write, direct, and star in this solo movie. Why don't you do it? Like, we'll get out of your way this time.
I don't think
or
he'd
whatever.
ever do it because he's way too much of he's too big of an actor and he has too much opportunity. But I mean, I would punch a baby to see a Ben Affleck series on HBO Max. You know, like
to see a series, that'd be
episode
amazing.
series once a year or something. Holy shit. Where he could do different villains and stuff. Oh my, that would be phenomenal. The format would be so rewarding for that character.
This is one of the questions I wanted to ask you, Sean, and then Tim, I'll let you go. What is the one Batman villain that has yet to be on screen that you'd like to see on screen?
That hasn't been on screen.
Correct.
That's tough. It's not tough. The Court of Owls is like this Illuminati thing in Gotham, and they have like
that sounds
super
fucking
soldiers.
awesome.
Yeah, they have like super soldiers that they have like Bruce Wayne clones and stuff, and they controlled his family his whole life, and it's like super dark and wild. And dude, there's one comic where they capture him and they put him in like a labyrinth for like a month, and he's like famished and has a beard and he's like dying and still escapes and beats a guy because he's fucking Batman. It's incredible.
Sean, start writing
I
now.
know,
start
right?
fucking writing.
Well,
that sounds amazing.
That's gonna be like hinted at in the new Batman movie. That's the direction he's gonna go.
That's what I mean.
I mean, that looks good.
That's what I mean, is that people who have a lot of history with this stuff, this movie hit a different audience than
100%.
Marvel movies. I watched this movie with 5 other people, none of whom give really a shit about superhero movies, but they've seen every single Marvel movie. Not one of them liked it. They all in unison were like, what the fuck did we just spend 4 hours doing? And like, that was my initial reaction too, until I thought about it and listening to you guys. Like, no, I get it. Like, it hits a different audience. They're not going after the people who just watched the Disney Marvel movies.
No, 100%. Do you know who Jay Baruchel is?
Not at all.
No.
Have you seen She's Out of My League?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Skinny dude. Yeah, that's him. He said when Batman vs. Superman came out, he's like, this will end up being known as the most expensive cult film ever made. I mean, Zack Snyder really made a $300 million superhero movie that appealed to people like me. That's it.
Yeah.
Like my father, right, got me into superheroes and stuff. And in Batman versus Superman, he was like, who is this? When the Flash is ripping through time to talk to Bruce Wayne. My dad was like, I have no fucking idea what's going on. And I was like, how dumb are you? That's clearly the Flash, dude. Like, but then it's like Tim said, I realized, oh man, I am such a nerd. I'm the only one that knows this shit. Like, I'm like getting half chub to see a parademon for the first time, and most people are like, "What the fuck is happening?" They have no idea.
But like, to me, because I can see that prevents me from being like, "Fuck this movie." Like, even if it wasn't for me, I'm like, look, like people who like this stuff, enjoyed this movie. That matters to me. But one nitpick that I cannot get over: Alfred is drinking out of a $40 bottle of scotch in this movie. I looked it up. That seems wholly unrealistic to me, unless there's something about Alfred that I don't understand.
Yeah, I think this Alfred's like more of a he served in the military and stuff. Yeah. He's a more relaxed version, but he's still uptight. And like the tea scene with him and Wonder Woman, I was like, oh, that's so good to see.
I love that scene.
Yeah, you know Tony, do you have any real like things you didn't like?
No.
I have like one thing that doesn't fundamentally make sense to me, but
so here I really wish they would have had more Lex Luthor in the movie, because I really wish they would have tied in his whole speech of, we know that demons aren't going to come from beneath, they're going to come from the sky. I really wish they would have, because he's only in one scene in the whole movie, right? Mm-hmm. Like I would have loved to see more Jesse.
Not even really, it's the epilogue, so technically not even.
I would have loved to see him more in the movie. So I guess my one dislike is an omission that he wasn't in more of it. I would have liked to see more of him in Joker, but obviously Joker wasn't even supposed to be in the movie in the first place. So
yeah. The only thing that I was like, was Superman got blown up by the explosion.
not a fan.
I don't know if that's possible.
From the little I know,
I mean,
it didn't make sense to me.
I genuinely don't know if it's possible. I mean, on Earth, I guess because it's alien tech or something, but I don't know. I was like, is that Superman coming back from blood and air? Like, okay, that's kind of wild. Superman got obliterated by the explosion, same as everyone else. I don't know if that tracks. But I will say, like, that final 30 minutes of that movie, night and day compared to the theatrical one, I felt like.
Okay.
Superman showed up with the axe on the shoulders. I was like, holy shit, this is so much better.
Everything with Darkseid made me so happy. It made me so happy. Because
so cool.
It created an actual villain, not to compare.
A lot of people said it's like the MCU. If they stopped after the first Avengers movie.
Not to compare everything
to
the MCU, but like, okay, so we've got the Infinity Stones, we have the Mother Boxes, we've got the smaller villain in Loki, we've got the smaller villain in some of these guys with Steppenwolf, but then Thanos shows up, Darkseid shows up, and it's like, oh my god, like we're seeing the literal biggest bad guy in this entire universe, and it's just
stabbing Aquaman
so cool.
with his own trident and the Omega Beam killing the other Atlantean. I was like, oh, this is so gnarly. I just have never been more confused in my entire life than I was, and I was like that with Batman versus Superman, because you watch the theatrical one and everyone's like, I'm so confused, and then you watch the director's cut, and it's not like they cut out action or anything. They exclusively cut out exposition. Like they only cut out stuff that explains what's happening in the stupid movie, and that's bad times 1,000.
And cutting Darkseid completely eliminates any coolness to Lex Luthor's character in Batman v Superman, because that's literally what he's foreshadowing the entire fucking movie, and then Darkseid's just not going to be in it now. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it was. Oh man, I honestly just can't get over how much better it was. Like, I kept saying to the girl that I was watching it with, I was like, I bet they fail and Flash gives them one more chance. And when it actually happened, it was, I could kind of see stuff coming just because I follow this stuff so closely. But I was like, man, if he says, I said it to the girl, I was like, make your own future, make your own path. That's incredible. Watch, he's going to do it. And he says it and leads back in and saves the day. And I was like, if you can watch this sitting in a chair in the studio at Warner Brothers and go, nah, let's have Superman and him race.
Yeah, like, that's what I mean.
Oh, what?
Yeah. That's what I mean. They're not good at this. Like, it's been proven over and over again.
Have you guys seen 1984?
Yes.
That was atrocious, I feel like. Her in this movie versus her in that movie, she was so epic in Justice League, dude. I got a little tired of the fucking music.
Yeah, I hated that.
She was on scene.
I couldn't stand that.
She was so much more of a badass. Just like, I liked that in the theatrical one, she was like all against the idea, the concept of getting Superman and stuff. And in this one, she was like, let's get this bitch. Like, we need him. Let's fight, dude. Yeah. And I was like, oh, she's so cool. And her fight with Steppenwolf, her fight was the extended sequence at the art museum or whatever. She was cooler in that. I love that they didn't like arrest those guys and she just nutted that guy with the her shield or whatever. I was like, this is sick, dude.
So this actually plays into a question I wanted to ask everybody. What was your favorite scene? Because we're gonna try and be positive on this podcast, Tim. What was your favorite scene? I don't want to know what your least favorite scene was. I want to know what your favorite scene is. And Tim, since you've been trying, it's been looking like to get into the conversation for a little bit. I'll pose the question to you.
See, this is one of the good things about YouTube is it's going to show my face actively like contorts when I have something to say. Like just a mild tangent. But like I do mock trial for school, and for one of the tournaments, like where my face is on it, yeah, I sort of quit. But for one of the tournaments, it was like people were like, dude, you could like see it visible. Like I'm doing it more now because I give less of a shit what I look like on this camera, but like my face actually contorts when like when I have something to say. It's a horrible tick.
It looks very troubling. I will say.
Yes. My favorite scene in this movie. You guys already mentioned the last 30 minutes. I'm not going to talk about that yet. I honestly, I didn't get that at all. My favorite scene is probably when they're all in like wherever Batman's like cave or lair is, and they're sitting around the table before they go and agree to get Superman, and they'd have like all of these side chats with each other. And it like, for me, it does to those characters what's very hard to do, because with Marvel, you have real people who become superheroes for the most part. With DC, you have like these godlike figures who try to act like humans. And so in that scene, they made them human in some way, instead of just being this, I can't even fathom anything about you.
I know why you like that scene. I know exactly why you like that scene. Because they ripped it completely from another movie franchise that you and I both hold very dear to our hearts. That's the Fast and Furious. Let's make a plan standing around a table.
Yeah, no,
It's exactly that. They all make like Tyrese Gibson always says something, and then someone shits on him, and then he stands there with this very disappointed look on his face. Like that was the Fantastic Four Dom has a plan scene, and it wins every time. Every Fast and Furious movie is the exact same movie, just with one more actor, one more bald, strong guy in it, and it's great. They did that exactly with that moment, and it was perfect because Aquaman and the Flash. Sean, we won't have you on for the Fast and Furious 17 movie.
They make one movie about fast cars, and then they're like, "What if we made Vin Diesel Kal-El? Like, what if we make him
absolutely?
They all can't die
because here's the thing, Sean. They accepted that their own movies are their own parodies of themselves.
Yes.
And every single person that goes to see them is like, yes. Oh, instead of them driving cars, they're not going to race spaceships. Why the fuck not? Who cares?
It's like they want me to believe that Dom Toretto could beat up Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just not. It's not real. But it's like some kid just like crushes a monster and he's like, I can fucking do it too.
No. There is only one thing, Sean, that the Fast and Furious characters drink. And you can drink anything.
Oh, not Coke? I was doing Coke. Sorry.
As long as it's a Corona.
No, it's
you can't drink anything else.
I know what you're trying to do, but Fast and Furious is one of the most coked up movies that we have.
Like you don't drink Coke. Anyways, so you mean like Coca-Cola? I thought you were saying cocaine.
Sorry. Go ahead, give me your favorite scene. We're talking about Fast and Furious.
Sean, Sean, favorite
What's
scene.
going on here?
The Flash.
Sorry, I just drank some Coke.
Of course. Flash was the best part of the movie, I feel like. And him, actually, I don't know. Superman showing up was real good. But yeah, no, Flash running back in time and saving the day. Oh, so good.
See, mine's a toss-up between the Wonder Woman bank scene and just how she's just a fucking badass. She blocks every single bullet from a submachine gun being shot 10 feet away. It's amazing with her fucking wrists. Like, it's just,
dude, that was like one of the best things that I was like, another one of like, why do you cut that?
Why? There's no reason to cut that.
Oh no, that in the bank scene. But then when she first meets Steppenwolf and he like smells and he's like, Amazon, but stronger. And he knows that she's different and he calls her out on it. And I'm like, why do you cut that? Because then that really builds up the legend of her, right? And I think she takes like 2 hits the whole movie pretty much. She just nuts people the whole
She's
time.
amazing.
Bang,
She's
bang,
amazing.
bang, bang. It's
So
incredible.
so it's a toss up between that and then the nightmare in the epilogue.
Yeah.
Where shut up, Tim. This, like you said, this movie wasn't for you.
What?
But no. This is not your time to speak. The nightmare at the end of the epilogue, because it shows some of the best acting in the movie. It does.
I agree.
Because
How do you know? You couldn't see shit the whole time. They were blurring in and out and doing this annoying.
Did I say
that's because it's like so low. The production quality is so low on it. It's like just in Zack Snyder's backyard.
Yeah.
And him shooting it himself and then putting it in the end of a $370 million movie.
Yeah.
But no, Jared Leto was so good in that. I mean, hearing Batman say, and make no mistake, I will fucking kill you.
Yes.
And just telling him to be careful with what he says, and the talking about him, obviously,
and
the fact that we now realize they're talking about him killing Robin, and it's just like, damn, dude.
It's great. And then again, there is, in the theatrical cut of Justice League, there is no mention of the Robin costume that we see hanging up in the Batcave. At least now there's some connection. That and the devil comes from the sky. Mm-hmm. Those two connections that obviously Zack Snyder was planning on coming back to.
Right? He just like I am a mega nerd, and I notice things in these movies that your average person doesn't notice. And I watched Batman versus Superman with this girl, and early in the movie, Lex Luthor is talking with the senator, and he's getting mad about her turning him down. And he says, all I know is, nobody came from the sky to save me from daddy's fists and abominations. And you take that line and fast forward to the end of the movie, a literal abomination that he has created throws a punch and Superman flies in and stops a literal fist of an abomination from coming down on Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
And it's like Zack Snyder did that intentionally. It is not my fault or his that people are too dumb to pick up on it. Like if you don't like the movie, it's because you've got to pay it's a bigger movie. Like, and Marvel does a very good job of making a different kind of movie, even though Endgame, the movies I like the most out of Marvel are the ones that I feel like deal with more of the real shit, right? Which are typically for me the Captain America movies. Like Winter Soldier deals with so many different thematic elements and more stuff with people and trauma and stuff like that. And that makes it a really good movie. Same with Endgame. There's so much in that. Like Tony is just operating based on guilt and trauma, and everyone else is pretty much based on the same thing, but it adds a different element to it. And so that's what I've always said about Batman versus Superman is it's so layered with other things going on that I feel like make it a very powerful superhero movie. And Superman in general in this whole arc, I've never liked the idea of him just being the perfect guy. This Man of Steel and stuff made him so much more human, and the idea that it really would shatter the world if we found out Superman existed. But then they double down on that and they're like, okay, yeah, let's have this older Batman that's lost one, maybe two Robins, has been fighting crime for 20, 25 years. And he sees basically a 9/11 level event happen between a grudge match. And really Superman's absolutely doing what he can to save him, to help. But to the broken mind of a fucking crazy person, which is Batman, he sees something totally different. By the end of the movie, because of the hearing, and everyone hated him doing it because of Martha, but they make a point in the beginning of the movie of showing that his dad's last word isn't anything to him to console a 7-year-old or whatever. He says his mother's last name or his mother's name, and that's it. So it's a huge trauma point. And by hearing it, he realizes that he has now gone full circle. He went from being the victim to the person that is about to victimize someone else and literally cold blood murder another person. And people are like, oh, that's so dumb. He wouldn't do that. It's like, no, it's so human. he literally has like a psychotic break and snaps from all this years of trauma and stuff. And it's super dark, and that I find so much more relatable than like, I mean, Disney cut the last time that they showed Tony Stark having a drink, I think, is in the first Avengers movie. And then they stopped doing that. Even though he is an absolute alcoholic.
When he makes the joke to Loki.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Happy in Spider-Man Far From Home is like, he was a mess, you know? He was this, he was that. They kind of try to say that he was an alcoholic, but he is a fundamentally fucked up person, and they don't really show that.
Definitely.
I love that they did it in this Winter Soldier show. They just introduced this concept of the Black Captain America and this moral gray area of Captain America. And I'm like, that is stuff I like. That builds way more depth to these characters. And Zack Snyder did it in 4 hours.
Yeah.
Technically, he did it in 7. But
yeah, all of this was done in 2 movies. All of this was done in 7 hours. But another question, now that we've talked about favorite scene, if you could pick to be one person in this movie, who would it be? Flash. Okay.
100%.
I want to be Alfred chilling in the mansion, doing nothing all day, pretending to be useful. That's what I would want to be doing.
I liked Alfred. I think he's great.
I love Alfred. Alfred
Flash
is
so cool.
Alfred's a prick, but like he has a really good life. He's carved out a nice little niche for himself. I can only hope to be so lucky.
See, maybe this goes to some psychological issues that I have, but I just want to be Batman. It looks so cool. It looks so cool and so fun. Like he just up and leaves and rides a camel to some Arctic alcove to go find Superman. Like just thinking
what part of that sounds fun.
Thinking about the horrible. Thinking about the mental introspection and the like eat, pray, love moment that Batman probably had during that journey. It just sounds great. He's a man of the earth while also being one of the wealthiest and most privileged people in the world. It's great.
I love it. I loved it so much.
That's the weirdest fucking thing I've ever heard.
It would be pretty cool to be Cyborg, I guess, but he can't do anything like he's not really a human. But I loved all his backstory and stuff. His manipulation of the stock markets and all that stuff that he can do. That was cool. But like Flash, really, they hint at it in this movie, right? And it's probably what his movie will be about. But his mom died in a freak accident. It turns out, I think, in every iteration that it's Reverse Flash from the future came back to kill his mom and frame his dad and start him on his own path. It's real Back to the Future type chicken and the egg time travel shit.
Time heist.
Yeah, exactly. But he basically has like a real bad day one day, and he's like, you know what? I miss my mom so much that I think I'm going to fuck it. I'm just going to try. And he runs so fast that he runs through time and ends up in an alternate dimension where his mom is alive. But Bruce Wayne got shot instead of his parents, and his dad is the Joker, and his dad is a Batman that uses guns, and his mom is the Joker. Like in it, she like holds Bruce dying and then touches her mouth to cry, and the blood is the stain of the Joker on her face.
Oh my god!
She just goes mad, and Batman is like killing people, throwing them off roofs, and shooting them with dual pistols. Wonder Woman and Arthur have an affair, and then they cheat on each other, and Atlantis and the Amazons are at war. Cyborg's trying to keep everyone alive. The government found Superman as a baby, and he's been locked in a government facility his entire life, and he's like 90 pounds and has never seen the sun.
Okay, Sean, start writing. Damn it.
That's apparently what they're doing.
Tony, it's already been written. They're called comic books, you dumbass.
No.
Like they already exist.
No. I'm saying start writing the screenplay. Let's go.
Dude, it's so crazy good.
I love that Sean. So for our YouTube audience, they're seeing Sean just pulling up a random comic book, and I love it. While Tim is actively trying to make the YouTube feed just look awful by pulling out an
my
iPad.
notes. I'm looking at my notes, making sure I got the stuff for the people.
Dude, this in Flashpoint, he like gets a note from Thomas Wayne and is able to like clutch it and run back to the present and present Bruce Wayne with a fucking note from his alternate reality alive father telling him that he's proud of him, that he shouldn't be Batman and all this shit. It's like super touching. DC Comics they just do it different, man. It's really, they're so stupid good. And also like the Batman ones, oh my god, they're so dark and scary. It's wild. He's so fantastic. But I don't know, man. All I felt from watching this movie was excitement to see other things from that perspective. And according to Ann Sarnoff of Warner Brothers, I can blow it out my ass and it's never gonna happen.
Okay. So I've got 2 more questions for you. Who's the biggest loser in the movie?
Batman.
Oh.
He brings the team together, but he himself is like, hey, whatever happens, you guys got to stay together. I brought you together for a reason. He's just a man. But he fulfills his purpose in bringing the super team together. And let's just thank God that there wasn't any. You didn't bring me back because you liked me. I don't not like you. Okay, Batman. What? What is happening, dude? That's such a dumb movie. But whatever. Here we are.
Tim?
We got the good one.
Tim, biggest loser?
I mean, I want to say Under Armour for sponsoring that horrible football scene.
Oh my god.
But
Oh my god.
But I mean,
because I think this is easy. There's not even a question as to who the biggest loser is in this movie.
Oh, Steppenwolf, because he literally dies.
No.
Your take?
No.
No, I don't have the biggest loser.
Joss Whedon.
Oh yeah.
Fuck you, Joss Whedon. You gave us a dog shit movie when you clearly had a very good movie already filmed.
I read something today that said that people are now speculating that the slow-mo team-up shot towards the end of the movie was added after the fact as a fuck you to Joss Whedon for Age of Ultron, because they did the same shot in Age of Ultron. Which
I hope so.
Like,
that's fantastic.
I was like, that's pretty wild. That's cool. Yeah, it was very specific, man. And he made such lame jokes in his movie, and changed so many things. I don't get it. It was, and Mustache Superman. It's just the worst, you know.
Yep. So then, did you like the movie? Since I know Sean and I both like the movie, Tim, did you like the movie?
No. I did not like this movie. I've been trying to hint at it the whole time. I did not like this movie. I thought the last 30 minutes were nonsensical and didn't need to be there. It was a horrible way to end a movie. It wasn't a cliffhanger. It was more of just it should have been in the middle of the movie, if anywhere. The slow motion absolutely made me want to claw my fucking eyes out. And it's a Zack Snyder movie. Look, I made this point on the podcast before. You know what you're getting with a Zack Snyder movie. You're going to get a lot of camera tricks. He's going to do a lot of flair. He's going to do a lot of things you haven't seen before with the camera that are kind of annoying, honestly, when it's over the course of 4 fucking hours. Like, it felt like watching 300, or he did this other movie, Guardians. I hated 300 is not a good movie. What are you doing that for? What are you shaking your head at me for? 300 is a terrible movie.
300. That is great.
300 is a horrible movie.
You honestly don't like war movie, okay? But 300 combined the 2 of your least favorite things in movies: war and Zack Snyder. And you hate both of those things.
Look, his movies actually give me a headache. Like, what was it? Not Kick-Ass. He did Watchmen. He did the movie. I can't watch that movie. It like gives me a headache. It's hard. It's like hard to sit through. The choices that he makes with like the color.
To me, they literally they play out just like the pages of a comic.
Yeah,
I've heard
it's like box by box and shot by shot and so specific and planned out that I think it fits the medium.
See,
I've heard
you've told me that multiple times, Sean, in the multiple conversations that we've had going back. How long have we known each other now? 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
Like, I remember our first conversation. You just went off about how amazing Christopher Nolan was, and I knew that at that point we were going to become friends because. But it perfectly makes the point that I was going to make with you, Tim. Is that I told you, because there was some time between me watching this movie and you watching this movie. I told you that this movie, Zack Snyder's Justice League, was basically Zack Snyder's version of Tenet. It was exactly what he wanted to make. If you like his movies, this is the most Zack Snyder-y movie that you can possibly get. Just like if you like Christopher Nolan movies, you're going to fucking love this one. If you don't, I might even tell you just straight up not go and watch it because you're gonna fucking hate it.
Well, look, those two are friends. Zack Snyder basically stole Nolan's script for Man of Steel.
Yeah, so, and that's why it's the best one that's come out so far.
I mean, look, I just want to reiterate though, while I did not like this movie, and I will probably never watch it again, I am glad that it exists because it hit an audience that I don't think many of the superhero movies have been able to reach. Like
I've watched it like 6 times.
That's incredible. That is actually like insane.
Not all the. I only watched the first 2 hours once. I've watched the last 2 hours for 5 times probably since.
And look, like this movie is.
And
like
this is why we have you on the pod, because now you're our resident Zack Snyder's Justice League expert. Go ahead.
But it's like this movie is loved by people in a way that few movies are. Like people are thankful for this movie. They're like,
well, people just got validation on a massive scale.
Yeah,
that A, it existed, and B, it was good. Like that was
that Zack Snyder's good.
Yeah. They really got away with a lot of, and that's what I'm saying. I'm like, if you do the Ayer cut, where does it stop with the mob controlling certain things?
Well, because
I don't know.
If they do that, if they do the Ayer cut, it just becomes one big shitstorm of like, you guys clearly have no idea what the fuck you guys are doing ever.
Yeah.
And
ever.
Like,
see, but I like it because here's the thing: there are even more ramifications for you making a bad movie. If you make a bad movie and it comes out that you did not allow the director to make certain choices, a successful
now you got to make both.
Now you've got to come to that person with your tail between your legs and say, "Hey, man, like we were wrong. You were right. Is there any chance you can make this so that they stop bullying us online? That'd be great."
You know what's going to be awesome is like the first movie that's actually horrifically awful that people do this to, and the director's like, "No, that's what I wanted. That was like exactly what we wanted to do."
No, but then
it just sucked ass.
Hey, you can't win them all. You want to talk about the invisible hand of the free market operating? This is perfect. This is capitalism, baby.
It's not the invisible hand. It's a blue bird.
The blue bird.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's the blue bird of Twitter.
I like it.
Controlling
I like
things. Look, like I've had a few days to think about it, which I think was good because initially I was just like, "Fuck that movie!" Like I can't believe I watched that. But then, like as I read the reviews on it, I was like, "Okay, this just hit a different audience, and that's cool." Yeah. Like I'm super happy for it.
So funny.
Couldn't
agree more. Tim, do you have anything else?
No, dude. I spent now a solid 6 hours on this movie.
Yeah.
Tim's
like, I cannot believe it's
wait,
5 years I've been talking about this.
Wait. We have to do the dream sequence at the end, and what does that all mean type of thing, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's not what it
Sean,
means.
Please explain to me the nightmare.
Nightmare is the sequels. That is, Flash was wearing the same outfit in the nightmare sequence in the end of that he was using or wearing in Batman versus Superman. And he had the same facial hair and stuff because that's what it is. It's a glimpse into what I believe would be Justice League 2, where Darkseid comes, gets the anti-life equation, and with the anti-life equation, he has the Omega beams, and he torches fucking Lois Lane, and then uses the anti-life equation on Superman, and Superman becomes his unbeatable right hand, and they take over fucking Earth and just basically turn it into like a factory for Darkseid to manufacture military stuff. And so yeah, Batman has a little renegade squad trying to survive. And probably what that is in that scene that we saw, it's Flash trying to do something that he hasn't done, which is they lose there. Superman finds them and is about to execute that little faction. And that's when Flash is like, Bruce Wayne probably would say, you know, you got to do it now, Barry. You got to go to the past and tell me. And so fucking Flash runs to the past, breaks through his memory, and he says like, oh, I'm too soon. And he says, you were right about him. He's coming. You have to find us. Lois is the key. And because he's too soon, all Batman hears is that Superman's going to kill everybody. But he's talking about Darkseid, obviously, and he's talking about getting the Justice League together. And so really it was two things. It was A, Zack Snyder giving us a glimpse at what he was planning, and then B, the Joker Batman thing was the only thing that Zack Snyder like added with extra shooting, because like he has said repeatedly, he's like, between the Ayer cut and what happened with me and stuff, it just seems disrespectful to the fan base to have created these two characters and not have them had shared any screen time. And they actually shot that not together. Jared Leto came over one day and shot his stuff, and Ben Affleck came over another day and shot his. They were never in the room with each other. Yeah. And that's actually part of the reason that there's so much of the weird camera shit, like Tim was saying, because they weren't, you couldn't do a wide shot. They weren't ever in the same room together. You could only do from behind Batman's head, behind Joker's head, or close-ups of them because they weren't there. But yeah, that was really just him trying to tease us with like, hey, since they're not going to let me do anymore,
I'm going to show you what I would have.
To show you, what I was going to do.
Sean's convinced me. Sean has changed my perspective.
Hey, this is why I love having Sean on.
Well, I mean, no, Sean just explained a couple things in the movie that I think make a lot of sense. I mean, yeah, I mean that sequence makes a lot more sense to me knowing some of the background. I still don't get it, but that's not going to change.
You see where it's coming from. All right, so I liked it. Sean liked it. Tim's. It sounds like he might like it a little bit more.
Tim appreciates it.
Okay.
Do you like it more than episode 9?
Yes, I do.
That's a win.
I do. No, I like it a lot more.
Hey,
episode.
Then,
a lot more.
Then, if nothing else, this was a win for me because I'm going to take that as you liking this movie, and you said that under no circumstances you're even going to watch it. So, everybody, fans of the Tim and Tony pod, we won. Tim likes it. Tim, you now have the privilege and the honor to control 2 to 4 hours of my life. What movie am I watching, and what movie are we reviewing next?
So I put a lot of thought into this.
That's not good for me.
Yeah. There's a couple options. I'm going to give you 2 options that have nothing to do with each other.
Okay, you're going to give me options.
To do with each other.
Let me guess. The Beach and Shakespeare in Love.
You haven't seen either of them? I'm almost
Josie and the Pussycats or Disney Channel's The Cheetah Girls Roar Back.
Drake and Josh, Really Big Shrimp.
We should definitely do like a Disney Channel movie. Okay, here are your options. Nomadland, directed by, I forgot the director's name, but she's directing also Marvel's The Eternals. Or going back in time, the first George Lucas movie ever made, Harrison Ford's debut movie, American Graffiti.
Oh, so I have seen Nomadland. Oh, Sean, I'm gonna let you control my next couple days. Which movie should we do? American Graffiti or Nomadland?
I would say American Graffiti.
Okay. All right. So everybody,
that's going to be either you're going to like love it or you're going to be like.
Okay. So our next movie that we are doing is American Graffiti, which is just further pushing the stereotype that Tim's only going to pick movies that came out before we were born. So this is great because
I gave you Nomadland. That came out like 6 months ago.
No, I know it did. But your
next
other
one is
pick,
Citizen Kane.
Yes. then Casablanca.
Singing in the Rain. Yeah. Some Charlie Chaplin. We'll get there.
Yeah. Shit. So Tim's pick so far, 1987 version of Wall Street. Now we're doing American Graffiti. All right. I'm excited.
Looking forward.
Well, the next episode, we're actually going to have some new intro music from our favorite Vegas band, Elvis Monroe. I have received the single off of their up-and-coming album, Competing with Giants. It's going to be very exciting. So that's going to be our new intro, outro. So for the last time, at least for now, I will say it in a second. Everyone knows I'm gonna let the tension build. Tim, where can they find you on social?
I have an Instagram allegedly.
Allegedly, yes.
Yeah, it's at LeDuc32. That's at TLEDUC32. Tony, where can they find you?
They can find me at Felix3412. Sean, are you going to be doing any shows? You got any projects coming out?
Not yet. I am still Glazed and Reviewed at Glazed and Reviewed. I'm considering changing it to Blazed and Reviewed and doing strictly movie reviews. Yeah.
Hey,
so
I like it.
See.
So you're going to take my suggestion.
Yeah. Well, because I moved back to Arizona. And unless I want to strictly do Glazed and Reviewed for, I think, the Vietnamese community of Arizona and do Bosa Donuts, I probably I'll lose a lot of my core audience, I think.
Right.
People don't realize how many donut shops there are in California and like how big of a deal it is out there. And so, yeah, I considered it, but there's like 5 privately owned donut shops in all of Arizona. And the rest are Bosa. That's it. So, it's funny though, because I almost could do it just for other Bosa Donuts to be like, because I don't know, you guys don't know this, the behind the scenes of Glazed and Reviewed, that type of donut shop, wow, ultra competitive, hate the other people.
Really?
Oh, dude, so funny. So funny. They would just like, if I gave them a good rating, I would come back in and they would praise me and be like, because we get up early and we make our stuff fresh. Those idiots, a bunch of losers, we fucking hate them. And I'm like, yeah, fuck them guys over there, dude. I hate them too. Your donut was like 2 points better. But can't really do that anymore. And there is like just so much like we talked about because of the pandemic and stuff, especially something that I considered was the Warner Brothers entire slate coming out, HBO Max. I got no excuse. All these movies are just playing on my living room. You know what I mean? Just like, let's do it. I'm watching WandaVision, Mandalorian, all this stuff. And I'm like, I got to get out there and start talking about it. So we'll see.
Well, we'll have to start doing some home and homes then if you're gonna start doing reviews as well. So that'll be exciting. But yeah, and did you say that you're doing any comedy shows?
Not yet. We'll see. I'm kind of been working on some other stuff at the time, doing some other writing. But yeah, we'll see.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Watch American Graffiti. Go dust off the old VHS that your mom has, or you can go check it out. I'm sure you can pirate it somewhere, or you can rent it. And for legal purposes, I would say let's go. Let's rent it. George Lucas doesn't have enough of our money yet, so let's go ahead and rent it.
He's doing very poorly, I've heard.
Wait, actually?
No, very sarcastic.
No, okay. I was gonna say
that dude got $1 billion. Yeah, he's a billionaire.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry. Apparently, I'm gullible when it gets to 10 o'clock. So thank you, everybody. This has been the Tim and Tony podcast, and for the last time, at least for now, JDF, play us out, please.